Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for those who are committed to taking control of their trading in order to achieve success, profitability, and longevity. Thank you for joining us. Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good evening everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessATrader.com nightly wrap-up show. Hope everybody is doing well. Hope everybody had a good trading session. If you are brand new to the channel, please subscribe, share, come aboard, join us, right? Join us on a day-to-day journey of unbiased technical analysis. So let's talk about the tape. As you can see here on the Qs are still building a flag. And this is very, very bullish considering, well, we're not going down. And they try to sell off the market several times today. As you can imagine, it's very, very tough to sell off a market that is still above rising support. And, when we reclaimed back that really aggressive day, we reclaimed back the 5 and 10 day moving average on Friday. And now we're just kind of building a flag. As you can imagine, when you're building a flag, when we're going sideways, the majority of stocks are going to go sideways as well. Where the value continues to be are the stocks that are coming in with some pretty aggressive option flow. We'll get to those names in a second. When you look at the scoreboard today, right, and we had some pretty big names reporting this morning. You had Caterpillar was obviously, probably the biggest reason the Dow was up on the day. When you look at the Qs, when you look at the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, nothing really to write home about. S&P down 12, NASDAQ down 62, but again, continues to be in this sideways range. The big couple of earnings that came out today, you had Starbucks come out. And again, I was a very, very aggressive coffee drinker for the majority of my adult life. About a year ago, I just quit coffee. I quit coffee along pretty much with everything else that is unhealthy. Not that coffee's unhealthy. I get it. I get the studies and all that stuff, but I give up coffee. And I used to think, how can Starbucks not be at $3,000 a share? If you go in Manhattan, New York City, or any major metropolitan city, you'd see there's a Starbucks literally every block. And the problem is that's not every city, right? That's not every small town. That only works in the major metropolitan areas. Starbucks down about $1 after the close. If you guys remember, for the last couple of days, we talked about the option flow on AMD. They were coming for the 120s, the 125s. You can see the buying here prior to the earnings today. They were coming for the 126 weeklies, the 26 weeklies, the 35s for next week, the 122s. And after the close, AMD came out with earnings. And if you look at the initial response was lower, came right back and just really, really took off. When traded as high as into the 125s, really nice push there. And it's kind of sitting there building above today's highs. And you can see a really nice run up into those highs. NVIDIA, again, sitting in the range with AMD, getting a little pop at the close. But the point is, everything is still flagging. Tomorrow, you're not going to get a lot of major earnings. You do have Qualcomm again. Another semiconductor. Let me just take a look. I haven't seen really any option flow on Qualcomm. Let me take a look here. No, nothing really. You see here 2 orders came out, at least on my scanner. Somebody bought the 125 weekly puts, and then there's another buyer for the June 2024 115 put leaps, paid nearly $800,000 in premiums. So far, I haven't seen any buying come in ahead of their quarter. Thursday is going to be the biggies. We all know that. We have Amazon coming out on Thursday. Again, they've been buying for pretty much the last week and a half or so. They've been buying the 30s, the 35s, the 40s. As you can see here, today's activity ahead of the quarter on Thursday, the 3250s, the 35s, the 130s, and the 136 weekly. So we'll see exactly what happens with Amazon and Apple. I mean, pretty steady buying from the options side of it, pretty steady buying going into earnings. You can see here, they're coming for the 185 puts, 1 order. But you can see some pretty decent sized buyers came in for the 220s, the 205 Septembers, the 205 Septembers to 205 Septembers. Yesterday and the day before, a lot of 200 calls coming into Apple. We'll see. We'll see if that pays off. It doesn't automatically translate into higher prices, but at least you get an understanding where the institutional money flow was coming, just like they were coming on Meta. If you guys remember when Meta came out with earnings prior to Meta, they were coming for the 320, 325 calls, and you can see what happened there. But yes, they do miss a lot. Just again, case in point, when they were coming for the 300 calls on Tesla, and then they rolled them into the 325 and 330s. Obviously, those didn't pay. Speaking of Tesla, right? Yesterday we talked about they were coming in for the first time in a while, some deep out of the money calls with short-term expiration. That did not translate into today. We'll get to the pivots in a second. I was in Tesla literally 3 times. It finally cracked towards mid-morning. But again, it still continues to be in the range here. But the only difference is it did lose the 5-day moving average, something to watch going into tomorrow's session. But the most notable bets that came out today, pretty aggressive bets. AI, right? AI had a really nice move. Again, we'll get to the pivots in a second. Look at the buyers that they came in for AI, guys. This is all for the weeklies. They were coming for the 47.5 weeklies, the 39 in the monies for 550 grand, the 45 weeklies, the 47 weeklies. So there were pretty good bets, and you can see, we'll show you in a second what happened with AI and Carvana, right? Carvana as well. The stock had a big move today. Look at the bets here, guys. Look at the bets here for the weeklies. Again, it doesn't necessarily have to translate that, but look at the bets here. They come with the 50s, the 52s. This guy came in for next week's $60 calls. This guy came in for the 66 weeklies. So a lot of buying coming in on a lot of speculation names. And the most important part is that's kind of where the market is. They try to sell off the tape today several times. They just couldn't do it. The market and the flag continues to be, pretty copacetic here, pretty solid here on this flag here above the 50-day, where it gets a little hairy if we lose the 50-day. But as we talked about now for the last several sessions, you don't have to guess if the market's going to go higher. It needs to build. The Qs need to build above 385. Is Amazon and Apple going to be enough to get through it? We'll see. We'll see on Thursday. But tomorrow, before we get to Thursday's session, we have to get prepared for tomorrow. And that's exactly where we start today's session. AI, I really, really like AI. It was a great trade today. A really, really good trade today. It broke above the Bollinger Band. It broke above the previous channel's high. And this is now the highest close in this whole formation. Again, like I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, they're coming for the 45s, right? The 45s and the 47 weeklies. If this thing confirms today's channels, guys, keep an eye on this thing. This thing could really, really wake up. Look at a name, and I believe we discussed it yesterday. This is the highest close for, what was the symbol? My God, it's getting late in the day. Affirm, I'm sorry, Affirm. Look at Affirm, right? We talked about Affirm yesterday coming out with a long range. This is now the highest close in the whole formation. Didn't give a huge move today, but now the stage is set. Now that it's above the Bollinger Band, the daily Bollinger Band, let's see if tomorrow it could spark up. If you look at the option flow today, look at the buyers that were coming in, right? They were coming in for the 22, right? The 22 weeklies, the 22.5s for next week. The stock's at $19. As far as I understand, they're not coming out with earnings till probably in the next week, 2 weeks or so. So this is not earnings related. So definitely keep an eye on Affirm. In case the market pulls tomorrow, look at eBay. If you guys remember, eBay got hit on earnings. Now it's just flagging. I want to watch the bottom of the earnings candle in case it gets hit. And Tesla, I'm watching as well. Decent little scalp today. There was a buyer there that was trying to clear up. Decent scalp today to the downside. I want to see if they start getting below the 5-day moving average and confirming. The one thing is, when the market did attempt to rally, right? When the market did attempt to rally early in the day, it did not participate. If you guys remember, I was short overnight Thursday into Friday. I had a nice runner, like a $4 runner, and obviously Friday had that big day. So maybe we can get that set up on the bottom of the range here. But I'm definitely watching it tomorrow to see if it starts following through for tomorrow's session. So let's talk about today's pivots. Microsoft 333 held twice. If it builds below, can flush. It got there again. Never confirmed. TTD, as you can imagine, 9166 needs to build. Never got there. Affirm confirmed right on the close. So it's very, very important to see if a firm can take out opening range highs tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, to see if it could finally get going now that it closed above the Bollinger Band. Lyft 1280 needs to build, never got there. If you guys are aware, Uber came out with earnings, really, had a move up and then just a really aggressive move up. So you can imagine Lyft did not participate as well. Guys, watch this ENPH for tomorrow. It's a little bit too thin for me, but keep an eye on this thing. They started buying the 143 weekly puts. It held 150 twice. Watch this ENPH tomorrow. If this thing starts losing 150, right, this whole area here, maybe it goes back to earnings lows. Something to watch for tomorrow. This is the pivot that I caught Tesla. I was actually in this thing 3 times. The first time went down only 50 cents. The second time it stalled break even. The third time was the charm. It finally got through and traded down into the 260 level. I want to watch this bottom channel here, see if tomorrow is going to be one more day. Netflix. You guys remember Netflix? It finally yesterday confirmed that dead cat bounce. Today it confirmed, right? 440 needs to build. Netflix went all the way to 445. Great 2-day run on Netflix. Congratulations for all you guys who caught that as well. Nice little scalp here on Microsoft towards the end of the afternoon. Nothing big. 338 went up like 50, 60 cents before the market turned. This thing didn't confirm. This was definitely the move towards the latter part of the day. AI needs to build 43 and 43.75. And look at AI's move. Just a great, great move on AI. You can see the 5-minute view got above this 43, 43.75 and just started launching, went all the way to 45. I still really, really like it for tomorrow, especially if it opens up lower. Let's see if we get this thing on a dip for a potential short trap and go take out today's high. So that's it, guys. That's it. A really good organic day. We also had a couple of scalps that were not on here. Roku, we took through that 97 highs for the last couple of days. Again, I forgot to put it on the feed, but other than that, pretty seamless day. I think going into tomorrow, the market, might look for a little bit of another rest day, but definitely rest assured, all the stocks that we were talking about with option flow, those are the names you should definitely watch on your radar, because there's the ones that are coming out with the institutional money flow, right? At least for tomorrow. And if they do start taking out today's ranges, we could get a second day in those names. AI, AFRM, so forth and so on. Guys, have a great night, everybody. God bless. And when everything goes well, I'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Take care.